Hey, I hear you say, because as I keep reminding you, I am listening at all times. How old is Edinburgh? Good question, and the answer is, I don't know. Defo very old. That's the video. Okay, but for real, I don't know. But just saying that over and over isn't going to make a good video, so let's get into this. So the oldest building in Edinburgh is generally accepted to be St Margaret's Chapel, which was built in the 12th century during the reign of St Margaret's son, David I, who, believe it or not, is also a saint. That was built between 1124 and 53. Now this is the oldest extant building in Edinburgh. Obviously Edinburgh has had buildings before and after that, considering that the chapel was built within Edinburgh Castle. So let's see if we can go deeper. So let's go for the earliest definite mention I can find of Edinburgh in a poem called Y Gododdin, which dates from between the 6th and 11th centuries. It's an epic poem written in Old and Middle Welsh, which recalls a post-Roman people called the Gododdin, who lived in and around Edinburgh and the Lothians and the Battle of Caertraeth. In the poem, they feast at the Fort of Agen, aka Edinburgh. So yes, the first mention of Edinburgh as a place was in Old Welsh as Eden Ixgor, or the Citadel of Eden. But let's go deeper. So in the 1st century, Agricola came north to try and conquer Scotland for the Romans, leading to the Battle of Mons Graupius. Now the Romans set up camps up north in the Highlands. Does that mean Edinburgh could have Roman foundations? No, it doesn't have Roman foundations. A lot of cities in England have Roman foundations like London, Manchester or York, but not Edinburgh. There was no record of interest in Edinburgh during Agricola's campaign. Why? Well, this is just speculation on my part, but I think it has something to do along the lines of, it's not worth the risk. Agricola was a Roman general who was hundreds of miles away from supply lines, and whoever was occupying Castle Rock at the time had quite possibly the best hill fort in the area. Are you going to waste your men on that when not doing that would save your strength? Now, Ptolemy the geographer did mention that there was a place in the southeast of Scotland called Alauna, meaning rock place, but there's some problems. Ptolemy's maps were not very accurate, and maybe that's an understatement, and Alauna could be another hill fort. There's also another Alauna in the west, which might be Dumbarton Rock, and Alauna might even be in Perthshire. Point is, Alauna might be Edinburgh, we don't know. What we do know that a people called the Votadini lived in the area. So we need to go into archaeology. In the 1990s, archaeological investigations on the castle found evidence that the castle could have been occupied by the Bronze Age or early Iron Age, but there's no conclusive evidence past the Iron Age. However, this is not the oldest confirmed evidence of habitation in Edinburgh. For that we need to go to the northwest, to Cramond, a place that the Romans did actually settle, but this is much earlier than that. In Cramond, we have evidence of a Mesolithic camp dating back to 8500 BCE. That's 10,500 years ago. Now this wasn't what we would call Edinburgh, but to be honest, I think what we can define as the seat of Edinburgh, Edinburgh Castle, likely goes back to the Bronze Age or earlier. We know people lived around the area in the Stone Age. We know that people preferred hilltops for security, so perhaps Edinburgh, or what would become Edinburgh, dates back to the Stone Age.